studying English? Do you want to be a teacher?
Law
school?
I want to publish books.
Oh, cool. A publisher. Really cool. Do you like to read?
Yeah.
Are you like an avid reader?
Yeah.
How much do you read?
I would say I finish about 2 to 3 books a week.
Whoa. I thought you were going to say month. 2 or 3 books a week. You're moving. What do you like to read?
Mostly fiction.
Yeah.
I like to read other stuff.
That's cool. Do you like to write too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a slow writer, fast reader.
That's awesome. How long does it take you to knock out a book? I mean, you must be reading
Well, I'm
three books a week. You're reading what, like one every 2 days or something?
So, I stay up really late to read, but so I'm currently on 7 books, but they're all like 3 or 4 chapters in, so not a lot.
So you read multiple books at the same time?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's awesome. Really cool. The rest of us focus. Hey gang, if you're here for training, go and grab your stuff and come on with me. I'll go and get you some.
It helps you like talking about like someone going to get copies
You did? Let's grab a seat right here. Hey man, what's your name? Hey Sandler, how are you? Nice to meet you, man. Go and grab a seat. Tell me your name one more time.
Ashley.
Ashley, good to see you. How are you? Go and grab a seat. What's up, man? What's your name?
Aaron.
Hey, Aaron. How are you? Bryan, Hurlman. Nice to meet you. Good. Guys, go and fill in. Then we'll grab a couple extra chairs and we'll fill them in around here. Joe, can you grab me one of those folding chairs behind you?
Yeah,
We'll add one to either side of the desk here. So thank you very much. There you go, bro. Set you up right here. I'll move this. Then, we can put one right there on the corner. Guys, go ahead and start working on the info sheet. I'm going to pass out some blue books here. Anything that's typed into the first, 12 pages or so of this are going to be things that we covered today during the training seminar, so you can start to review this and kind of get familiar with some of that info. I'm going to collect some info sheets from you. Bank shop. You're very welcome. You're very welcome. You're very welcome.
I already filled this one out when I came from
What's that?
interview. Is there?
Info sheet. Hey Brian. Do you have any extra training info sheets?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you got an application, bro? Yeah, you already filled that out, didn't you, dude? Oh, man. No, I'm not going to make you start the process all over, dude. So, okay, are you here for an interview or are you here for training? Okay, cool. So you already went through the interview process. Okay, cool. Yeah, you want to fill out that one. Here you go, pal. See the blue book? And Catherine, how did you hear about the job? Oh, that's right. Okay, cool. Great. Yes, please hook me up. Thank you. And Catherine, when do you head back to school?
I head down on the 17th.
Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
so pretty soon.
Yeah, sweet. Well, hey, I mean, one thing that's kind of cool, even someone like Ryan, he made close to $1,000 his first week on the job.
Yeah.
So you do it the right way, work hard for, a week. I mean, you can go to school with $500 to $1,000 on a low end, and maybe $2 or $3 grand on the higher end if you really do a great job. Yeah. So cool. And then what's also cool is that you kind of have a position secured. So a lot of our students will come back and do a couple of appointments over fall break and come back and crush their winter break. I had a student this time last year who, sold 10 grand their first 10 days, made $2,000 before starting school, and then came back over the winter break at 30% commission. And over his winter break, he was able to make like $4 or $5 grand working for like 2 or 3 weeks because he crushed it before leaving for school. So, are you done?
Yeah.
All right, now listen, okay? Some of you I haven't gotten your info sheet from, and I will momentarily. Okay, but listen very closely. Here's the deal. I promise no one's going to die during the following activity, okay? Here's what I want you to do. Go ahead and stand up for me. Okay, leave all your stuff at the table. And what I want you to do is go around and introduce yourself to everyone. Okay, here's what you're going to do. You're going to shake hands. Tell them your name, if you're in school, where you're going to school, what you're studying. Tell them what are you most excited about for the new job, okay? And then also tell them something that is cool about yourself. Now, don't tell them that you like to sleep, okay, or something lame. Tell them something that's actually cool, okay? So shake hands, introduce yourself, where you go to school, what you're studying, what you're most excited about for the new job, and something cool about yourself. Okay, ready, break.
Stanley, I'm Ashley. We're going to Okay.
All right, gang, let's go ahead and grab a seat. We're going to get started here. Definitely want to have pen and paper so you can take some notes during training today. We're good to go here?
Yes, sir.
All right, guys. First of all, how's everybody doing this afternoon? Good. So 3 people are doing well. Just to introduce myself to all of you again, my name is Bryan Hurlman. My position title is what's called a division manager. What that means is I own and operate this office here in Northern Virginia. I oversee the DMV. And I'm also in charge of managing operations and managing all of our other office locations throughout the states of Virginia and West Virginia. I've been with the company for 13 years. I started when I was younger, probably, than most of you. I just graduated high school. What's up, Zach?
What's up?
How are you doing, brother?
Yeah, man. How are you doing?
I'm good, babe. I'll introduce you here in just a second. Good to see you, man. So I started right after I graduated high school. I was 17. I turned 18 on the day that I finished my training seminar. Before Cutco, I had never done anything like this before. My last job before Cutco, I was a pizza delivery boy. I had been a Ben & Jerry's ice cream scooper. Neither one of those jobs are good for a guy like me. And then I was also a bellman at a hotel. So I'd never done anything like this before. I didn't break records, but I did pretty well. I sold about $9,000 in Cutco during my first 10 days on the job during something called my Fast Start contest. You guys will hear about that. For any of you that are money motivated, that equated to about $1,800 in income for me. I had no idea it was possible to make that much money in that amount of time as a young person. I was very motivated. I started towards the beginning of July, and so I only had like 5, maybe 6 weeks to work before my freshman year of school started. I sold about $30,000 in my first 6 weeks, 5-6 weeks. I earned right at $10,000 in income, and after the financial aid that my family received, I was able to pay for my first 2 semesters of tuition and room and board. My mom was pretty fired up about that. I continued working around my classes during the fall and the spring semesters just to pay for my expenses as a student, and then I came back my second summer in a management role where I started to learn how to conduct interviews and how to interview people. I started to learn how to train and manage and inspire and motivate people. And I really loved what I was doing. And it was in that summer that I got pretty clear that I could see myself doing that as a career. I went to school at UNC Charlotte in Charlotte, North Carolina. I was a finance major. If you would have asked me at y'all's age what I wanted to do, I probably would have told you I wanted to do something in wealth management or investment banking. I wanted to be successful to a high level financially. That was just like a big goal of mine as a young person. I'm from a lower income family. My mom's a school teacher. She taught mentally and physically handicapped kids PE for 30 years, which was very fulfilling, but not as great as on a financial standpoint. And then my dad was unemployed for the majority of my life. I was born and raised in a double-wide trailer in the middle of nowhere, North Carolina, and my parents were pretty clear with me around my sophomore year of high school that if I wanted to go to college, I could and I should if that was my desire, but they would not be able to help me with that at all financially, and I just didn't want to be 22 or 23 graduating with 30, 50 or more $1,000 in student loan debt. So I was looking for a job where I could put myself through school. I really enjoyed what I was doing with Cutco. I ended up making it a career, oddly enough. I became a district manager. So I was a district manager in Charlotte, North Carolina from 2009 to 2017. I ran an office there where I recruited, trained, and managed the sales force. The sales team that I built there in Charlotte, before being promoted to an executive level management role as a division manager, I trained about 4,000 high school and college students in Charlotte, North Carolina. Those students sold over $15 million in Cutco. Our sales team there won 8 different national championships over an 8-year period. And I was promoted to take over an executive level management role in Northern Virginia as a division manager starting January of 2018. So my wife and I moved here to Nova in November of 2017 to rebuild this place from scratch. And essentially, I was tasked with the role of taking this organization from one of the worst in the company to first in the company. And I had a track record of building and rebuilding championship teams, and that's what I was tasked to do here, and that's exactly what we're doing. Our office is currently the number 1 office in new business sales in the entire country, number 3 overall office location out of 600 in the nation. So we're kicking ass, we're taking names. This office already this year has sold right at $1.6 million in Cutco. Since May 1st, we've sold in the neighborhood of $1.2 million for the summer so far. Which is our best performance in office history. Last year in 2018, my first year here, when we started January 1st, there was 4 walls and nothing. I mean, no reps, no nothing. And our office last year finished at $1.875 million in sales. As a division, we sold $3.4 million. To give you an idea, this year already, we're already over $3.5 million for the year as a division. Our goal is this year to break the all-time record in the history of our office, and do over $2 million in revenue, and that as a division, we do in the neighborhood of $4.5 to $5 million. So we're kicking butt and taking names, and you guys are starting at an absolutely great time. You've probably heard the saying that timing is everything, and much of business is timing. And I tell you what, you couldn't pick a better time to get started working with us. Really excited to have you here, and as you know, today we're in here from noon, and were you told that we're out at 9 or 10 p.m.? You were told 7. Okay, cool. I just want to make sure everyone's paying attention. So today's 12 to 7. Tomorrow will be 10 to 5. Listen, we train for success, not for time. So if we wrap up early, listen, me and all these people are just as okay with that as all of you guys are. And then next week, so the training over the next 2 days will be followed next week by 2 shorter advanced trainings. And those are there to help you build upon your just initial fundamental skills. And then after the training is completed next week, you'll be in the office once to twice a week based on your schedule. Specifically, a lot of you that are working around class, it'll be once, maybe twice a week in the office. Once for a team meeting with the whole sales team together. That's my favorite hour of every week. And then one individualized meeting, one-on-one with a manager. So we can help you create an individualized schedule around your other obligations, and help create an individualized schedule. So, listen, really excited to have you here. I want to start by just welcoming you to our team. If you haven't been able to tell yet, there's a different atmosphere and a different culture here than other places you've probably worked. If you've had past jobs, you may have been just an employee or a number. You may have been replaceable. Here, I want to tell you that's a lot different. You're part of the Fairfax pilot. You're part of one of the top offices in the entire country. And listen, on this team, we have quarterbacks and wide receivers and running backs, and we also have offensive linemen, and we have kickers. We have the dude that holds the ball for the kicker. Everyone plays an important role. Whatever role you see yourself playing, let me tell you, it's an important one. We lock arms, we do things as a team, and As I mentioned, this isn't just any team. This is perennially one of the top organizations in the country. If you played college football, getting recruited to work in this office is like getting recruited to play at Clemson or Alabama. If you played college football, this is Carolina. It's Duke. It's UVA. If this is college admissions, this office is Harvard. It's Yale. It's Princeton. And I'm really I'm excited to have you as part of the organization and to train you. If you're a little bit nervous right now, it's very normal. Anytime you're doing something for the first time, there's always going to be a level of initial nervousness that goes along with it. One thing I can tell you as training progresses over the next couple days, those feelings are going to subside and they're going to be replaced by confidence. And I'm going to make sure that I do my job really well to see that happens. There's a handful of people that come in here and they're freaking out. This is their first job ever. They're like, I've never sold anything, right? A lot of people come in and they're very confident in the product, very confident in the program and the process. They just really need to be taught everything and they know they're going to do well. And then we have a lot of people that come in here just knowing they're going to crush it. A lot of times they've been recommended to the job by a friend. How many of you were recommended to the job by a friend? Cool. So, all of you. So a lot of times those people come in with a different level of expectation. A lot of times their friends have sold a lot of Cutco and made a lot of money, and they're just kind of like, dude, I'm just ready to sell, Listen, by the end of the day today, you're going to know 90 to 100% of the presentation itself. And by the end of the day today, you're going to be like, okay, dude, forget the rest of the training. Just give me the knives. I get it. Soccer moms, follow this book, right? I'm ready to go. By the end of the day tomorrow, you're going to be burning rubber out of my parking lot to go make those first couple sales, knock out those first few promotion levels, and I'm going to make sure that I set you up to do that. You don't necessarily need to take notes on what's about to come out of my mouth, but I do want you to be very, very engaged with my following words. Okay, so listen closely to this. Training class, what I'm going to teach you over the next 2 days, this is not theory, okay? Selling Cutco isn't some art form. It is a science, okay? We have a proven program and process to be highly successful at the job. It's why I can take anyone from any neighborhood, from any, religious background or belief, skin color, ethnicity. I don't care where you went to high school. I don't care what your parents do for a living. I don't care what your dad's last name is. I can teach you to be highly successful selling Cutco because it's a science. It's a formula, and it's so exact. If you plugged it into your TI-83 calculator, it would come out the exact same way every single time. If you want to be successful to a high level, follow the program and follow the process, and you're going to kick some serious ass at the job, okay? I want to start off today by reviewing some expectations. You can label these things in your notes as keys to success. As far as our agenda today, I'm going to talk about some keys to success. Then we're going to dig into the presentation. And, like I said, by the end of the day, you're going to know about 90+% of the presentation itself. It's really simple. Today, we're also going to talk about some other brands and knives that are on the market. We'll talk about lower quality stuff that is found in like Target and Bed Bath & Beyond that's not really comparable to Cutco. We'll talk about some higher quality brands that are found in like higher end stores that do compare to Cutco. Cutco blows them out of the water. It's still way better. But we'll talk about, kind of give you an idea of the marketplace. We'll talk about value and price and their relationship and their importance as far as your presentation goes. Today we'll also do a brainstorming activity and help you expand the initial list that you brought with you to training. You probably brought a list of like 15 to 20, some of you maybe 30 or 40 people that you can potentially start doing presentations with. I'm going to help you expand that list dramatically in the training. And then we'll identify who are your best customers. We'll look at some scheduling for your first couple days and help you create an individualized schedule based on, your availability, your financial objectives. And then we'll make some phone calls. We'll help you get your first 5 to 10 appointments scheduled today from the office. Listen, the way I teach you how to do this, it's literally like asking a neighbor for a stick of butter or a cup of sugar for a recipe because you're out. It's super simple. 90% of people that you talk to on the phone are going to schedule an appointment with you. The only reason that they don't is for some reason if they're like out of town or something. So we'll help you get your first 5 or 10 appointments here from the office. Tomorrow is our wrap-up day. So tomorrow we're going to do some paperwork at the very beginning. Tomorrow we will talk about how to turn in orders, how to get referrals. I'll walk you through the virtual presentation. We use a Prezi to show Cutco to people that live outside of the DMV. So if you have customers that you know are good customers, you can show them Cutco through the virtual presentation. I'll show you that website. It's really cool. Tomorrow we're going to cut a bunch of stuff up. We'll spend like 30 or 45 minutes and just cut a bunch of stuff. And let you use the product, which is going to be really fun. Tomorrow I'll talk about some contests. I'll talk about the Fast Start contest in detail. I'll tell you a little bit about it today, but I'll unveil the details of the contest tomorrow. I'll talk about the advertising bonus program and give you a chance to recommend some friends to the job. We'll talk about our normal week-to-week office schedule and expectations. Tomorrow we will get you a sample kit, and you guys will be ready to go out there and make your first couple sales and knock out a couple promotions. Okay. Before I dive into some expectation, I want to take a quick second to introduce our staff to you. First person I want to introduce is Mr. Jeremy Williams. Jeremy is my pilot sales manager. The way that you can view Jeremy's role is like the COO of my company. Jeremy's in charge of every operational decision within the organization and within this office. He's in charge of recruiting operations and talent acquisition. He's in charge of retention and productivity. He's in charge of developing our future leaders. And he is currently the #1 pilot sales manager in the entire country. What that means is that Jeremy is the #1 student manager in the entire country. He's extremely intelligent, goes to school at Georgia Tech, studying business there. Jeremy started in our Boca Raton location in Fort Lauderdale, actually. Was a top performer there as a sales representative, top 3 in his office. The summer after, he ran his own branch office. You guys will hear a little bit about that throughout training and then in the future at some team meetings and stuff. But Jeremy, at the age of 19, 20 years old, last summer, went out and ran his own office. He was in charge of every operational and financial decision. He recruited, trained, and managed his own sales force, produced over $150,000 in sales revenue last summer as a branch manager, was the #2 performer in the Eastern region, and based on his performance, was selected to take over as a pilot sales manager with me this summer. I make a lot of decisions. The most important decision I make on an annual basis is who will play the role as my pilot sales manager in the summertime. And Jeremy has exceeded expectations, to say the least. He's incredibly caring and empathetic, incredibly competitive and driven, has just this unbelievable achievement drive, really deeply cares about the success of other people and puts that as to the forefront, and is just an unbelievable leader, trainer, recruiter, manager, mentor of people. I'm privileged to say that, in doing this for 13 years and training and working with 5,000 plus people over the last decade, Jeremy is maybe the #1 most impressive young person I've had an opportunity to partner with and work with. He's unbelievable. And if he does the right things, he'll be coming back for round 2 this upcoming summer, where our goal is to go out and break the all-time record in the history of the company in the summertime. Jeremy is, and just so you know, as a division manager, I oversee, again, 12 different office managers, and I have a lot of responsibilities. You are going to work closely with me during your first week or 2 weeks on the job. Outside of that, I only work with the top 10% of performers within this office as a division manager. So the likelihood is, if you're a top 10% type performer in your training class, you'll have an opportunity to continue coaching with me personally and more directly. Jeremy is someone that you'll probably work much more closely with following the training seminar, and following the first couple weeks of training. So he's unbelievable. Jeremy, what did you sell your first 10 days on the job?
$7,500.
So $7,500, and how many appointments did you complete?
Like 12 to 14. I had another job.
So less than 15. Was working another job. Sold over $7,000. Made $1,200 in income, give or take, your first 10 days.
Yes.
Jeremy, what did you end up selling for the summertime?
$40,000.
And what did you make in income your first summer selling Cutco?
I think 13.5 or more.
What would you say? Did you cut food up on appointments?
A lot. Yeah.
What foods did you cut?
I had a whole thing where I made bulk, but pineapples, cucumbers, bread.
A lot of food.
Yeah, I love food.
Did customers tell you on the phone that they were going to buy from you?
Not once.
No. What did they tell you on the phone?
That they were going to take a look and that I could come over.
And what happened when you got there?
Did the presentation, followed the manual. My first demo was with my aunt, and she said she was going to watch. She wasn't going to buy anything. She was so convinced that she wasn't going to buy anything. And my demo was all over the place. I'm looking at my book, and I'm like, I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't ask you, like, did you make this up today? You get your free gift. Look up and smile, and she's like, actually, you yeah. And I was like, what?
Talk to yourself
It was so
itself.
surprising.
You know. Jeremy, what would you say? And then, okay, so after your first summer, you went on. Your second summer, you went through the TLA program, got to the Leadership Academy, trained to have an opportunity to run a branch, was a top performer, had an opportunity to branch here in Virginia from the Florida division. Jeremy, tell me a little about your branch experience. You know, what were you doing in that role, and you know, and then also, what were some of the things that you feel like you learned most in that role?
Yeah, so I mean, I was 19 years old. I get there and I'm like, wow, I'm gonna be running an office by myself. I mean, no matter how much you prepare yourself for that, it's still very exhilarating. And essentially, just started off recruiting and really developing my own sales team. I'll say by a long shot, it was the most impactful experience of my life. I mean, you learn to think on the spot to a very high degree, problem solve. You learn to care about others more than yourself. You learn to really develop people. I mean, one of my representatives went off and he's running his own office right now.
Yep.
Another one got a dream internship in California through his Cutco experience, and he's running a top journalism internship, among others. But yeah, so essentially just running an entire company. It's pretty hard to put into words, but it was definitely the best thing.
Our branch program is essentially CEO experience for the summertime, right? I mean, make every operational and financial decision. Jeremy, what was your profit on your office? What did you make in income this last year?
I had fun last summer, so I spent some money, about $30,000 a year.
So minus some spending and some expenses. Jeremy, if you give this group a tip, I'm really crushing the first 10 days on the job. What tip would you give the group?
Oh, definitely. I wasn't even trained by Bryan or Mr. Hurlman. I wish I was. He's the best trainer in the company. Definitely just follow the program, listen to what he says. He's never going to tell you something that's not going to benefit you, because we're only successful if you're successful. So following the program, cutting up food, doing as many demos as you can. For sure.
Cool. Numbers game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, love that. Awesome. Let's give Jeremy a round of applause. This is Isabella Valdez in the back here. Bella's our division office manager. She's our second in charge. Isabella was one of our top performers last summer, and then had an opportunity to work with me closely during a fall semester and over her winter break. Was just head and shoulders above her peer group, and had an opportunity to come into our office as our head assistant manager. Bella makes the majority of our hiring decisions and conducts the majority of our interviews, and is currently training with me this summer to go out and run her own branch office next summer. So Bella went to PVI. She's a student at JMU. She's pre-med there. Wants to go on to go to medical school and eventually be a surgeon. Bella, what did you sell your first 10 days on the job?
Not a lot, like 4,000.
A whopping $4,000, right?
Yep.
Well, how many appointments did you complete?
Not enough. Probably like 15 or so.
15.
Yeah.
If you could have done anything differently during your first 10 days, what would you have done differently?
I would have done a lot more demos, made a lot more calls.
Yeah.
I took like 2 days off to work a catering job. Still regret it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What did you cut food up on demos?
Yeah.
What foods did you cut?
Carrots, cucumbers, tomatoes, and potatoes.
Cool. What was your favorite part about selling Cutco?
Just meeting all the new people. Like, I mean, I think it's really cool we're all in the same area, and I'm still meeting people that like are mutual friends and acquaintances that I would have never met otherwise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And then, Bella, you did a great job as a rep. What tips would you give the group on really crushing their first 10 days on the job?
I'm kind of going to piggyback off what Jeremy said and just go listen to everything Mr. Hurlman tells you to. He's the best at what he does, and everything he tells you to do, it's for a reason. So follow the program, follow the manual. And then the second thing I would say is just, I was terrified before I started the job. I'll tell you myself, I was very, very shy and introverted, and this was probably like the hardest thing I'd ever done, but just go for it. Don't hesitate.
Like Bella's, okay, I have to say this. Bella is downplaying that, okay? Bella was maybe the most introverted person I've trained. Maybe. Like, let's put it this way. Bella did not speak more than one sentence at a time to me for her first month on the job or more. Okay? And to see, like, the transformation that she's gone through personally and the growth that she's experienced in like things like self-confidence and public speaking and working with people, it's just been like, I mean, it's why I do what I do. Bella went through our Leadership Academy program. I'm trained for an opportunity to get a management role. This summer has just done an amazing job in really partnering with Jeremy and locking arms to be one of the top offices in the country, current #1 office in the country for the summer. Bella, what have you enjoyed most about being in a management leadership role?
I mean, just helping people recognize their own strengths and their own weaknesses and kind of play to what they're good at the same way I was able to, and just figure out the person that they can be rather than who they are at that moment, and just helping people, I guess, grow the same way I have is what I think is really cool about it.
That's awesome. And you're currently training to run your own office next summer. You have a letter of intent to run a branch office. And Bella, I mean, you're going to medical school, right? You want to be a surgeon. Like, has nothing to do with sales or business. Why the heck are you doing that? Like, why are you going to run your own office?
I mean,
I don't feel like that. How's that congruent, you know?
Science is science. It's really not that hard if you just sit down and learn it and you have a passion for it. So I figure I'm going to learn all the medicine and the science and everything in school and in med school. They're not going to teach me how to talk to patients, how to make executive decisions, how to think on my feet, all the stuff that you really need to do, but you're never actually taught. So that's why I'm here, and that's why I want to do it.
That's cool. So Bella's competing to get an opportunity to be a branch manager next summer in a top tier type territory. She's doing a great job. So Bella, we really appreciate you. You're awesome. And let's give Bella a quick round of applause. And then Russ, it looks like you have to jump here in a second. But let me introduce Russ to you as well. Russ Winbra is currently the #1 rep in the country in his category. Russ is on pace to win a national championship and finish as the #1 sales rep in the company. Russ, how much Cutco have you sold so far this year?
245,000.
So $250,000 so far for the year. What do you think you're going to finish at?
450.
400+ grand. What were you doing this time last year?
This time last year, I was running an AMCO transmission, sitting in an office without an air conditioner that worked, trying to get cars fixed with mechanics calling out of work, and having to diagnose cars and run the front.
So you weren't even working with Cutco at this time last year.
No.
Now you were a top performer with Cutco. How long ago, Russ? I mean, how many years had you left the business for?
15 years, 16
so
years.
Russ was a top performer with Cutco and left Cutco and did other things for 15 years. Ran AMCO stations among a handful of other things. And one of our district managers, Andy Noggle, reached out to him on Facebook and said, "Hey, we have this really cool program. We have representatives who are working with mortgage lenders, realtors, business owners selling client retention gifts and client appreciation gifts. I think you'd be a great fit for this." Russ came back, liked what he heard, and has dived in head first. Russ, when did you start selling Cutco?
I started January of 2002.
Okay, cool. What did you sell? Do you remember what you sold your first 10 days?
$300.
$300. That means that Russ barely wrote up an order, okay? Like, in our office, our average order size is like $400, $450. I think it's $430-something on Vector Connect right now. So, that's less than an order, to give you an idea. Russ, I mean, but you went on to be a top performer. What helped you go from a very below average sales rep initially to a top performer while you were actively working with Cutco?
I actually did what I was supposed to do and didn't run Russell's program at the beginning, and memorized the training manual and actually closed the appointments on the phone.
Yeah, cool. And then Russ, what made you decide to come back to Cutco after 15 years doing other stuff?
I'll be completely honest with y'all. I mean, I was making 6 figures running an automotive shop, and I was capped. There was a ceiling. And I was tired of being limited to what I could do, and I could not use my full potential.
What have you enjoyed most about, this is now 8 months in, $250,000. What have you enjoyed most about being in this new role as a closing gift consultant and working as a CSP?
Basically, the world's at your fingertips. You can do anything that you want to do. There's no ceiling, and life's all about what you put into it.
Yeah.
You get whatever you want.
Yeah, Russell, what's your commission percentage?
50%.
So Russ, as a CSP, makes half of what he sells. It's August, 8th, and 8 months into the year, he's already earned, over six figures, and will make well into the six figures, finishing this year at $450 plus $1,000. So really exciting. Russ, what tips could you give these guys on really kicking ass at the job, specifically when they're new?
When he gives you a list to write down everybody you know, write down everybody you know so you can go see as many people as you can. Like, if he says 100, why do the minimum? Let's go for 500. Like, that's how I roll. Like, if somebody tells me 10, I'm going for 20. Like, basically do that. You want as many people as you can go see, and you just build off of that. That would be my recommendation when you start.
So work really hard on assignments. So we're going to get an assignment tonight. Like I said, that brainstorming activity, that portion of our training is really the most important part of our training seminar today. So work hard on that activity in training. Work hard on those assignments outside of training. Good. Russ, anything else that you tell these guys?
Have fun. Don't think too much.
Yeah.
Keep it simple, and you can make some killer money. I'm a little older than probably most of you guys, but I wish I was younger and I had actually followed the program and did things the way I should have done them. I could have made a lot more money.
Yeah. Well, you're taking advantage of it now, baby. Awesome. Let's give Russ a round of applause. Thanks, Russ, where are you heading today? What do you got going today?
I am heading to Winchester from Royal to work the Warren County Fair.
Cool.
Packing up, and I'm heading over to the PW County Fair tomorrow.
Cool. What have you sold so far? What did you sell last week? Just to give these guys an idea.
Last week sold right at $10,000. So awful week.
Yeah, $10,000. So just kind of give you like shaping expectations a little bit here. You hear Russ say $10K is like an off week for him, right? But pretty cool when you think about a 50% commission level, that being an off week, right? So this guy's a big thinker. But the cool thing is, started off just like you guys, sitting in a training seminar with a blue book, a white book, a bag full of knives, So awesome. Thanks, Russ. Appreciate it.
Hey, can I come field train with you?
And then, are you going field training with him?
I'm going.
I'll be up here for 3 weeks, so
You actually probably should go watch and do a service call, bro.
Oh, man.
Let me introduce you since you're standing here, Zach. Zach's one of our assistant managers. Zach started with us at the very end of last summer. Zach, what did you sell your first 10 days?
2,500.
So Zach was one of the worst. He doesn't mind me saying this. He was one of the worst trainees in his training seminar. Okay. Zach came up to me in the training and was like, "This was the second day of the training, mind you." Zach comes up to me. He goes, "So you're telling me this works?" I'm like, "I mean, yeah, dude. We do this for 70 years. We sell $270 million a year. Yeah, it works." He goes, "So you're telling me that all I have to do is read this book and cut a bunch of stuff up, and people are going to buy these knives?" I'm like, "Yeah, bro. That's what's going to happen." He's like, "Okay." And Zach went out and sold 2,500 his first 10 days. So really like bottom 50% of his training seminar. Zach, how much have you sold now in your career?
89,000.
So just under $100,000 at this point. So obviously a lot of improvement. This, by the way, Zach's been on the job for right at a year.
Yeah, right at about a year. Yeah.
Just over a year. So Zach, things really clicked for you.
Oh, yeah.
The spring campaign, and by the way, around classes in the spring semester, Zach sold just under $30,000 and earned about $10,000 part-time around his classes this past semester in the spring, and was the number 11 student in the country and won an All-American scholarship as one of our top performers. The company awards 100 scholarships a year to our top-performing sales reps. And Zach is on pace to win another All-American scholarship and finish as one of the top 50 students in the country.
I'm top
This
20
summer.
right now.
All right? Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you have for the summer right now?
48,000.
What have you made in income so far this summer, just from personal sales, not including your office pay?
21,000.
And then with office pay, what have you earned?
24.
25, 27, yeah, in that neighborhood.
It's about a year ridiculous at the end of the year.
So that's pretty cool. And you got almost a month left.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
three good weeks.
Oh, yeah.
What are you going to finish the summer at?
60. I want to get to 60.
So, and what will you end up making in commission just from your sales?
26, 27.
If I would have told you this time last year that you're making almost $30,000 the upcoming summer,
I would have thought you were an idiot.
I thought it was impossible, right?
Yeah.
Zach, so you were a pretty below average rep, and then now you have improved dramatically. There was a point in time that things really started to click for you over the winter break, in particular.
Yep.
Things started to click for you
Yeah.
over winter break.
Yeah.
What was the difference? What happened when things started really clicking?
So really, it's a couple things. Honestly, I just love asking questions. I'm just a big person on questions. Every single chance I get with any top manager, top CSP, professional, always ask questions, always dig in and learn with them. But there's two really main things. I was really intentional about getting better with the business, and I would always go on Vector Connect and go to the video library.
So Zach was an aggressive learner, took his learning into his own hands.
Oh yeah, I would stay up at night, watch an hour or two for months.
But, studying and actually
literally
focusing on developing a skill set.
Yeah, because the money you can make is limitless in sales, so it's I need to get better at this. You know? So I did that, and then events was the biggest thing for me.
Going to events.
Why?
Why?
Oh man, events create vision for yourself later on in the business and for advancement. Also, you get to see the top performers throughout the country, give incredible content, great talks, great speaches.
You
amazing.
popped off after that.
Oh yeah.
After that, the division meeting we had in December,
Yeah.
right before winter break push was starting,
I started
you just
popping.
caught on fire, man.
It clicked. That's when it clicked for me, literally.
So, what tips could you give these guys on really going out and crushing their first 10 days on the job?
Try to do a minimum of 40 appointments, because that's what I missed. That's what I messed up on.
If you do 40 appointments, how much are they going to sell? If they could do 40 demos, how much are they going to sell?
You'll minimum sell 10 grand.
Minimum.
Minimum.
And in all reality, guys, Samantha, how many appointments did you do your first 10 days?
I wrote 41 orders, so I did 46.
41 appointments, 41 orders, 46 appointments. And what did you sell your first 10 days?
17.
So most people that do 40 appointments or more their first 10 days end up selling $15,000 to $20,000. I've never one time in my entire career, never once in 13 years, have I seen someone complete 40 and not sell 10 grand their first 10 days on the job. Most of the time, that number, Jacob Chung completed what, 20, 27, 30? He sold right at 16, 17 grand, 17 grand. So, complete the appointments.
Yeah.
Guys, here's what you have to know. Cutco sells itself, okay? Do you think the question is, do people buy these knives? Is that really the question? No, the product is awesome. Everyone gets something. The question is more, what do they get, right? And so the number of appointments, are gonna, every appointment that you do, you're gonna sell something at least, even if it's just a couple table knives or a pair of the shears, right? And then sometimes you'll have bigger sales, right? Zach, so complete a lot of appointments.
Yep.
What else?
You got to focus on having fun with these people. You can't be focusing on customers as a dollar sign. Just focus on having fun, building a relationship with them. I treat the job like I'm there to make a best friend in an hour. That's how I treat the job. So so basically, plus your results will happen if you have the right mindset going in. Expectations create reality.
What do you mean by that?
So you can't go into an appointment and hope to sell, because if you hope, then you gotta genuine. If you hope to sell, then it's not gonna happen. You're probably not gonna sell anything. Maybe even one knife, maybe. But if you expect to sell, then it will happen.
What do you expect to sell going into an appointment?
4,000, 5,000. I expect to sell a whole Cutco kitchen most of the time.
Yeah, you're expecting a $4,000, a $5,000, a $6,000 sale.
Yeah.
That's your expectation.
I genuinely.
Now, what's your smallest sale bid?
Basic family set.
Yeah.
It's just fun.
So when you're thinking big, like a small sale,
Yeah, exactly.
it's like a basic set,
Yeah,
right?
so-
7 knives, 2 forks, and a spatula.
Exactly.
It'll get them by. Medium set.
Yeah.
What's what dollar amount? What's your biggest order in your career?
Biggest order was I think it was 20. It was only like 2,400, 2,500.
So not that
Nothing crazy, but my biggest day is 5,000. Biggest week is 10,000. So.
right.
Yeah.
So every order adds up.
Yeah, everywhere adds up. Yeah.
Cool.
And I mean, plus when I go to appointments, I have not a single negative thought in my head. I'm so clear of what I want to accomplish at the appointment, and I envision what's going to happen in the appointment.
Yeah. Zach, where'd you go to high school?
I went to South County High School.
And where are you in school now?
Nova Community College.
Cool.
Yeah.
And what are you studying?
I'm studying business administration, and then I'm about to transfer to George Mason and study finance. So,
And what have you been training to do this summer?
to become a branch manager.
So why are you excited about that?
So, I mean, I've always wanted to become an entrepreneur. It's just something that's like kind of my goal that's out there. And I feel like if I really get some real valuable skills and confidence in myself to go out and run my own business with this company, that would be the most incredible experience of my life. I think it would be the most impactful experience of my life because not only I'll be on my own, but I'll also be able to handle adversity, respond to adversity, think on my feet, problem solve, do a lot of things that separate myself from my peer group for future job interviews.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Cool.
that's the key.
Very cool. Awesome.
Also,
Yeah, please.
one more thing
Please.
for you guys. I'm huge on building rapport. So when you go to appointments, just really build a genuine connection. Try to build rapport with them for 20, 30 minutes. It's just
Why is rapport so important?
because then objections, totally different ball game. Everything's just different. Like if they don't agree with you, you're just come on, stop.
It's all about a relationship and having a lot of fun. You know, when you're enthusiastic about the product and you're building a genuine connection with people, they know they're not there to do what? Just sell them something and leave, right? There's more substance.
Like I literally talk to my customers like they're family members and like they're my mom. Like, come on, stop it. Like, just like give me shoulders.
Yeah. Cool.
It's kind of funny, but
And Zach, will you be able to do your demo tomorrow?
yeah,
Okay, cool.
I can.
So Zach, so tomorrow you'll actually get a chance to see Zach do his presentation the way that he would for a customer. He'll just treat you guys like you're Miss Jones, and he'll sit down and do the presentation, so you can actually see it front to back. So cool, awesome. Let's give Zach a round of applause. Christian Perez is another one of our assistant managers. Christian goes to school at JMU, graduated from Battlefield High School, has sold over $50,000, is training to be a branch manager. He'll be running his own office next summer. He's also pre-med. He also wants to be a surgeon, wants to be an orthopedic surgeon. And then Fury Andriva goes to school at UMD. She graduated from Quince Orchard High School in Gaithersburg, Maryland. Was recommended to the job by one of her friends, Daniel Lee, who went to school at UVA. She's a finance major at UMD. She's also training with us to be a branch manager next summer. So, all right. So I want to talk about some keys to success and expectations as we get started here. Just a couple things, and these are really important. Definitely want you to take some detailed notes on this. Okay. Number one, first and foremost, is 100. And first, so by the way, as far as how I'm going to do this, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about some things that you can expect from me and from your leadership team. And then I'll talk about the things that I can expect from you and the expectations of representatives working within my organizations. Okay. So here are the things that you can expect from me and from the leadership team. Number one is 100% commitment to you and to your success. 100% commitment to you. I'll let you in on a secret. I do not have a salary. I do not have a wage. I have $0 guaranteed to me. Your assistant managers and your pilot sales manager, Jeremy, does not get paid like that either. We simply get paid based upon the results of this office. So in order for us to succeed to a high level, who has to succeed to a high level? Every single individual rep. So you know what? I'm never going to teach you to do something that doesn't work. If it doesn't work for you, it doesn't work for me. Also, if I ever tell you not to do something, guess what? You probably shouldn't do it. Now, if you want to, you can. Totally up to you. There's a saying that says, a smart man learns from his own mistakes. A wise man learns from the mistakes of other people. I made a lot of mistakes when I was a new rep. I've trained 5,000 people. I've seen them make a lot of mistakes. And I'm going to try to highlight some of the common pitfalls that I see in new reps so that you don't have to make them. But here's what you need to know. You don't work for me. I work for you. Any great leader is a servant leader. I'm gonna figure out exactly what you want to gain from the job, and I'm going to give you the actions and the skill sets necessary for you to reach those goals. We're going to be 100% committed to you. Number two, second thing you can expect is availability. Availability is an expectation that you can have. Now, I'm not going to say that we're going to be available 24/7, but it is pretty damn close. There's never really time too late or too early to call into the office. One thing I want you to jot down underneath availability, jot down a bullet point and write down coaching calls. Coaching calls. Like we talked about in your interview, when you're a new rep, we're going to have a 2 to 5 minute coaching call following every presentation that you do when you're a brand new rep. And it's going to allow us to do a couple things. First thing it's going to allow us to do is kind of debrief, right? We're going to say, hey, what did you feel good about? Like, what did you feel like you did well? What did you feel like could have improved? We're going to record results and make sure that we're able to keep you updated on things like standings within your training class. Make sure that you're getting paid correctly and that all of your orders are correct. And then what we're going to be able to do is coach you and give you tips based on the experiences and the scenarios that you're encountering. And let me tell you something. That coaching is what is going to cut your learning curve down dramatically. In doing this for 13 years, I can tell you that those coaching calls are the most important ingredient in a new representative's success. I just want to share with you that at the stage I'm at in my career, I don't care about the results. I know that we're going to sell the knives. This office is going to sell $2 million next year. It'll sell over $2 million. It'll sell $2 million this year. It'll sell over $2 million next year. I'm not worried about the results. Communication is the most important part of the job. And like I said, there's never a time too late or too early to call in for those coaching calls. You might do some appointments with family, friends, and people that you know well as late as like 9, 10 o'clock at night. One of the biggest sales of our week last week was called in after 11 p.m. on a Friday. It wasn't like a monster sale. It was only like, I don't know, $2,500. So it wasn't like a huge sale, but it was called in after 11 o'clock on a Friday. So never any time too late or too early to call in. By the way, I do not have people camped out here at the office answering phones at night. The office phone forwards to all of our assistant managers' cell phones simultaneously. And I pay those assistant managers very, very well to answer that phone whenever it rings. Our assistant managers make somewhere in our pilot office, make somewhere between $15,000 and $20,000, and then our top performers, our top performing AMs will make in the neighborhood of $30,000 in a summer. So they get paid very well to answer that phone. It doesn't matter when it rings. So availability is an expectation that you can have. And then the third expectation that you can have is this. It's just open, honest communication. Open and honest. Listen, I'm from North Carolina, okay? I'm pretty blunt. I say things like y'all. I tend to curse. And I call the shots like I see them. And listen, I'm not the type of sugarcoat stuff. Like, I'm a pretty tough coach, but I'm very clear on what laying forth expectations, and I'm going to be here to do two things as your coach. I'm going to be here to support you, and I'm also going to be here to challenge you. And I have the wherewithal and the emotional intelligence to know when to do each. But we're going to be here to support you and coach you, make sure that you're successful to a high level. I'm going to be really open and really honest with you. I want it to be a two-way street. I want you to be really open and really honest with me. Okay? So that's what you can expect from us. Cool? All right, let me talk about what I'm going to expect from y'all. So these are the expectations. There was y'all. Here are the expectations of representatives working within any of the organizations that I'm overseeing. Okay? So, a couple expectations. Number one is a positive attitude and positive expectations. Positive attitude, positive expectations. We are literally the most positive people that y'all will ever meet. It's a lot of high fives and handshakes around here. Everyone's fired up and motivated. And at first, that's weird because that's probably not the type of environment that you've experienced when you've gone to work. So we want you to have a really positive attitude. We want you to have energy. But the more important aspect of this are your expectations. And I want to share with you a universal fact that I have found to be true. This is a fact that is as fact as gravity. Okay, and here's what I want you to know: everything in life happens twice. And here's what I mean by that: it happens right here first, and then it happens in real life. Nothing you don't fully expect to happen ever will. Here's why: training class expectations create reality. Your expectations create reality. You think about the best players in the NBA. When they go for a shot, what do they expect to happen? Do they ever shoot the ball expecting to miss? No. Now, do they make every shot they take?
No.
No, but what's their expectation?
To make it.
Every single presentation that you go into, Daniel, what should you be expecting to happen?
To sell something.
To sell everything in that damn book.
Yeah.
Right? On every presentation. Now, is it going to happen like that on every presentation? Probably not. But listen, if you go out this weekend and you do make a sale on every presentation, don't be surprised. It happens all the time. If you go out your first week or 2 weeks and you make a sale on every presentation, that's pretty normal. You know, Samantha's friend Eva, who started a couple weeks ago, I think she's had one no sale in her career. Is that right, Sam? I think one. And she's done like 37 presentations or something like that.
Wow.
You know, she's made 36 sales. Pretty much everyone gets something. Expectations create reality. Okay, so that's a very, very important expectation. Positive attitude and positive expectations. And listen, if you don't expect to sell, don't even go. Don't even go do the presentation if you don't expect to make a sale. Expectations create reality. That's the most important thing. Number 2, second expectation. I want you to help others. Help others. If you want to go fast, you go alone. If you want to go far, take other people with you. See this training manual right here? This is the job. It's a 9-page long script. Okay? I literally want you to read this word for word for like your first, I don't know, like 15, 20 of these presentations. Don't even worry about making eye contact. No, okay? And for those of you that are like, oh my God, I have to read, don't worry, there's pictures, okay? There's even, there's a sentence that says, turn the page. It tells you when to cut the rope. I mean, literally, listen, guys, if you can read, you can sell Cutco. Let me tell you something. It's not hard to sell Cutco. Guys, it's not hard to sell a product that outsells its nearest competitor by $160 million a year, okay? It's not hard to sell a product that, has been number one in its industry longer than anyone in the room has been alive on the planet, including myself. Okay? It's not hard to sell a product that the troops, our U.S. troops, use in combat. Okay? It's not hard to sell Cutco. In fact, you don't even have to sell Cutco. What does Cutco do?
So.
You just got to smile, look pretty, cut some stuff up, let it do that. Okay? Again, do you think the question is, do people buy the knives? Is that the question? No. What's the question? What do they get? If they don't cook that much, and they're like, oh, kitchen stuff, Aaron, we don't really cook, a lot of times they get a basic set, right? It's 7 knives, 2 forks, and a spatula. It's enough to get them by. Now, if they like to cook, is that going to be enough?
No.
Hell no. So a lot of times people that like to cook will get a medium or a complete set. Some people that get the complete set don't really cook at all. They just like to have nice stuff, and it matches their kitchen, right? But the reality is everyone gets something. The question is just really how much they get, what set fits their needs, right? So listen, the job is more about 2 things than it is anything else. First is just following the program and the process, right? And the second is being really, really excited and enthusiastic about how awesome the product is, okay? So listen, you're all in the same shoes right now. You're a little bit nervous and anxious. I'm just telling you by the end of the day today, you're going to be like, dude, I'm ready, okay? Give me the knives. I get it. Call soccer moms. Show it to soccer moms. Let me go make sales. By the end of the day tomorrow, you'll be burning rubber to go make those first few sales and knock out some promotions. So help others. Number three, be responsible. Be responsible. Here's what that means to me. Just do what you say you're going to do, okay? I'm not going to treat you like kids. I'm going to treat you like adults, okay? And when adults say they're going to do something, what do? They do it. And so at the beginning of the week, we're always going to get 2 numbers from you. We're going to get a goal of how many presentations that you want to complete. And we're going to get a minimum of how many presentations you're going to complete. Now, do I talk to you about the minimum? No, because it's what? It's minimum. What do I talk to you about?
The goal.
The goal, absolutely. But no matter what, and do you think I care how many appointments you want to be doing on a weekly basis? No. As long as you're treating it like a job, we're fine. Right? How many hours a week is a part-time job?
Anywhere from 20.
Yeah, 20 or so, 15, 20, 25 hours a week is a part-time job typically. So as long as you're treating it like a job, we're fine. Okay? I want you to follow through. So that's really important to me. Okay, by showing hands, how many want to work part-time? How many are going to be going to school here in the area? Cool. So my suggestion for y'all is this. Okay, and so how many want to work part-time? And then anyone want to work full-time? And a couple of you are going, how many of you are going off to school in the next couple weeks? Okay, cool. Where do you go, Toms? Me? Okay, cool. You guys starting what, like the 26th? Okay, cool. Where do you go? Cool. Aaron, where are you at?
Fairfax High School. I'll be a senior this year.
Cool, man. Cool. Who did you get recommended by?
Julia Moser.
Okay, great.
George Mason.
Mason, cool. Nova, cool.
UMass Amherst.
Cool. Awesome. Nova. What about you? You're not in school. Cool. Oh, Nova. Okay, cool. Guilford College. Okay. So, especially for those of you that are going to be going to school, whether you're going off to school at ODU, whether you're going to be in school here in the area, especially for those that are looking to work part-time around your classes. People ask me all the time, what's your biggest tip? What's your biggest tip? What's the biggest tip you can get? Here's my biggest tip. You ready? Here's my biggest tip. Bust your ass your first 10 days on the job. Work as hard as you can. Do as many appointments as you can. Work full-time your first 10 days on the job. Bust your ass your first 10 days. Okay? And the reason is this. By the way, if you have not written this down in your notes yet, I want you to write this down in your notes. Fast start. Okay? Fast start contest. Circle it, star it, highlight it, underline it. Okay? How many of you by show of hands want to get off to a slow start? How many of you would like to get off to a fast start? Yeah, and there's so much to be said for momentum. Here's what I'm going to tell you. 90% or more of the reps that I train work harder their first 10 days than they do any other time on the job. Why? Because it's a lot easier to make a train go from 50 to 70 miles an hour than it is to make that same train go from 0 to 50 miles an hour. Okay, momentum. And here's what you really want to do. You want to bust your ass your first 10 days on the job. And a lot of our top performers will go out there and they'll sell $10,000 to $20,000+ their first 10 days on the job. Now, I know that sounds like a lot to you right now because you don't have a point of reference, but you have to just realize that $10,000 in 10 days is only an average of $1,000 a day, right? What does our average customer spend? Yeah, $330 nationwide. In this office, it's $400. So on average, how many orders does it take you to sell $1,000? 2, maybe 3. How many of you by a show of hands feel like you could write up 2 or 3 orders in a day? Yeah, I mean, we have reps that do that part time. I mean, Ted Lathrop did it around class. Hal Freilich did it around class. Wes Bingham did it around class while they were playing lacrosse and finishing school. You know, so a lot of our top reps will go in there and sell $10,000 their first 10 days. Samantha sold $17,000 her first 10 days. Jacob Chung $17,000 his first 10 days. Alex Stubblefield $20,000 her first 10 days. Alex Neufeld $10,000 his first 10 days on the job. Lindsay Nichols is our record holder, $28,000 her first 10 days on the job. And I share that with you because you really want to bust your ass your first 10 days. And the reason is this. You want to work full-time your first 10 days on the job and really work your ass off, work really, really hard. Now, again, don't neglect your obligations. Don't neglect the commitments that you have. But really maximize any time that you can be doing an appointment or making calls, do that. Because you want to be able, after your first 10 days, to work part-time hours, but be earning full-time income. Right? How many of you want to be working part-time around your classes? Okay, so here's the key, right? You want to go out there and you want to bust your ass your first 10 days on the job so that after your first 10 days, I mean, a lot of our top performers will go out there, they'll sell $10,000+, they'll hit dirty 30 their first 10 days on the job. So they're making 30% commission the rest of the time they work here. Now, some people, by the way, we have a lot of people that shoot for it and they'll fall a little bit short. Jeremy, his goal was $10,000, he only sold $7,000, right? Hunter Capriol was shooting to sell $10,000, only sold about $8,000. Right now, here's the consolation prize. They might not have hit their goals, but Jeremy made $1,200 his first 10 days. Do you think he was very disappointed? I don't think so either. And he was at 25% commission. So after one more week, or even just a couple more demos, what happened? Boom, he hit dirty 30. So here's why you want to bust your ass your first 10 days. If you're working a part-time job, again, how many hours a week is that typically? 15, 20? Let's just say that you're doing 10 appointments a week, right? With some phone calls to schedule those appointments and some travel time and a team meeting, that's probably about 15 hours, right? Well, if you're doing 10 appointments a week, let's say you go do those 10 appointments, how many people out of 10 are going to buy the knives? Let's try that one more time. There we go. Why is that the answer? Because expectations create reality. Now, if we're being conservative, it's probably 7 or 8, right? So let's just call it 7 sales. Right? 10 demos, 7 sales. What's our average customer spend? $400. Right? That's $2,800. And at 30% commission, what is that? So help with some math. What is it, like $800, something like that? $800+ dollars. That's twice as much money as your friends are making working full-time jobs in the summertime, working part-time around your classes. I mean, heck, you could be doing 7 demos a week. You could be just averaging 1 a day. And out of the 7, how many people are going to buy? 7. For being conservative, it's probably what? 5 or 6? Yeah, let's call it 5 sales. What's our average customer spend? Yep. So 5 orders at $400 a piece is $2,000, right? 30% commission. Let's give or take just a little bit less than $700 in income because you busted your ass your first 10 days. So most people go out and they work really, really hard their first 10 days on the job during the fast start, and then they put it on cruise control. They work part-time, and they're able to earn full-time dollars. It's pretty cool. So, you know, I would encourage you to really go out there and work hard your first 10 days on the job. Now, I just also wanted to tell you this fast start contest. Any of you in here competitive at all? Okay, you're gonna. This is the most badass contest you've ever seen or been a part of in your life. In your first 10 days on the job, I'm gonna give you a chance to win over $2,000 in prizes based on top of all the commission you're earning from appointments and sales. By the way. There is a reason that 90+% of the reps we train work harder their first 10 days on the job than they do any other time. So, listen, when you come in, I'm not going to go over I'm going to talk a little bit about it today. I'm going to go over the details tomorrow. When I go over the details tomorrow, if you're wearing socks, bring an extra pair. The ones that you're wearing, I'm going to knock them clean off when I tell you about this contest. Okay, you're going to be holding on to your chair when I go over the details, because if you're not, you're going to fall right out of it. Okay, it's awesome. So we'll talk about that. So be responsible, follow through. Again, I don't care how much you sell. I don't care how many appointments that you do. I care that you're treating it like a job, that you're communicating. You know, that's the most important part. It will help all of you create an individualized schedule based around your goals as far as income and hours and things like that. My last expectation, number 4. Number 4, my last expectation is that you make the most out of training. Make the most out of training. Listen, guys, you only get to go through this training seminar once. I don't say this to be arrogant, but I am one of, if not the best trainer in the company. Okay, we're filming this training seminar today to use content for training materials for managers that do what I do. You see that there's almost as many people here to watch me run the training seminar as there are here to be in the training seminar. And what they're doing is they're doing the same thing you guys are, but instead of learning how to go do a demo and sell Cutco, they're learning how to train people to go sell Cutco. And the reason is because on average, our representatives in this office sell 3 to 4 times more than any other rep does in any other part of the country. You know, again, if this is, I mean, it's college football, it's Clemson, it's Alabama. If it's college basketball, it's Carolina, it's Duke. And, you know, I don't tell you that to impress you, but I tell you it to impress upon you the caliber of the training that you're getting, the caliber of the leadership team that we have in place. We have pound for pound the #1 student management and leadership team in the country. This is pound for pound the strongest office team in the country. And you're going to get amazing training and make the most out of it. You only get to go through this training seminar once, so dig in and take notes and ask questions and be engaged. You know, let me ask you a question. What if this training meant the rest of your life? What if I told you this, Daniel? What if I told you that the effort you put into the 2 days that you're in the classroom with me and the first 2 weeks in the field, what if I told you that training was going to set you up for financial independence for the rest of your life? What if I told you you would not have to worry about how you're going to pay a bill or ask your parents for $1 for the next 3 to 5 years and beyond? They guaranteed you financial independence. How hard would you work? How committed to the job would you be? That's what it's designed to be. How about beyond that? What if I told you the effort you put into the 2 days in the training while we're in classroom and the first 2 weeks in the field, what if I told you that training was going to land you your dream job when you graduated from college? What if I told you it was going to get you into your dream graduate program? Now how hard would you work? That is what it's designed to be. I want you to know that if you're a top performer, certainly my objective is not that you're just here for a couple weeks or a couple months. My objective is that you have an opportunity to be here for a couple summers and possibly have an opportunity to get to our leadership academy, have an opportunity to advance and move up into management and leadership roles with us. As you can see, everyone that's in my office currently, what are they doing? They're all moving up and out of my office, and they're rerunning their own offices. So that leaves room for people to advance and move up here. We're always looking for leaders. And let me tell you something. Our Leadership Academy is our company's version of our leadership and management training program. We teach students in that Leadership Academy how to manage 5 things extremely well: time, money, energy, themselves, and other people. And that's where we select our future assistant and branch managers from. And so I want you to know that if you're a top performer, my objective is certainly not you're just here for just a couple weeks or a couple months, is that this is the vehicle for you as an undergraduate, as a young person, to develop professional skills, to grow personally, and create financial independence. And I want you to know that while you work here, myself and my management team are gonna make sure that you get 2 things out of the job. So I have 2 objectives for you working here, and you can take note on these things. I have 2 objectives. The first objective is financial success. Okay, I want you to make a lot of money. I want you to make so much money that you redefine what your idea of what a lot of money is. Okay? How much do you think the average college student makes in a summer? $2,000? Maybe 3? My top college students make more than that their first 10 days on the job. The best ones I train make that much their first day or 2 on the job. Alex Stubblefield made $2,000 her first day on the job. Lindsay Nichols made $2,000 her first 2 days on the job. And obviously that's not everybody, and those are top performers, but certainly that's the kind of potential that you have. Morgan made $2,000 her first 10 days on the job. Sam made $2,000 her first 10 days on the job. You made $3,000, maybe more. $3,000 your first 10 days. So I want you to be highly successful financially. And I want you to be successful financially for 2 reasons. The first reason is this. It's evidence of success, right? You don't get grades and report cards here. The grades and report cards that you get are called what? Paychecks, because that's what mom and dad and everyone else sees as far as how well you're doing with sales. And so I certainly want you to make a lot of money because it's evidence of success. I remember when I went home and I told my parents I was going to be selling knives. They thought that was very weird. I remember after the interview, I got in the car, we were driving home, my dad's like, "What are you going to be doing?" I'm like, "Well, Dad, it's kind of hard to explain. I'll just tell you when we get home." And he's like, "Why don't you just tell me right now?" I'm like, "Well, I'm going to be working with customers and explaining products and stuff." My dad just starts shaking his head and goes like this. He goes, "What are you selling, son?" And I said, "Well, Dad, I'm not really selling anything. It's more like show and tell. I show them it, I tell them about it, they buy it." He goes, "Brian, what are you selling?" Without me thinking about it, I go, "Dad, I'm selling knives." And my dad goes, "You're an idiot. You're not going to make any money doing that. People already have knives. You need to get a real job." So he was very negative. And my mom was not as negative, but she was very skeptical. Right? My mom was like, "Well, Brian, you don't really cook." I'm like, "I'm not going to cook for these people. I'm going to let them use the knives." And I'm telling you, Mom, the knives sell themselves. You're going to buy a whole set. My mom goes, "Well, let me stop you right there. Because we have Pampered Chef." Side note, Pampered Chef sucks. We have Pampered Chef, and we're not going to buy anything. I'm like, "Mom, let me tell you that when you see these knives, I'm just telling you, you're going to buy a whole damn set. They're unbelievable." She goes, "You can practice. We're not going to buy." Right? Anyway, so my mom was very skeptical, and then I went out and I made $497 my first 2 days on the job. You think she was very skeptical anymore? No. That was more money than I had made at any other job I'd ever worked in my life for a full 40-hour work week. And I made it in 2.5 days. And then I made $1,300 my first full week, and that equated to be $1,800 my first week and a half. Do you think she was skeptical at all? No. In fact, I think it was in that moment that she decided she was going to nudge both my other siblings to eventually sell Cutco too. And they both did. My brother actually sold Cutco and was part of our Cutco through college program and worked with us in leadership and management roles as a student, and now is in a career role as a district manager. He runs the office I used to run in Charlotte, North Carolina. And my sister sold Cutco over a winter break to get some really, really good experience from her resume and diversify her resume before applying to nursing programs. But listen, this is not your old job. And you cannot treat this like you treated your old job, okay? Have you guys ever had jobs in the past? Where have you worked, Aaron?
Chick-fil-A and Reed's Italian Ice.
I love Chick-fil-A. I pull a lot of kids out of Chick-fil-A, dude. Seriously, I like Chick-fil-A kids. They're good kids. and they love this job too because they make way more money than they can handing people bags or pounding chicken in the back. So Chick-fil-A. Let's pretend that you decide going into Chick-fil-A, you're going to go in for a shift, Aaron, and here's what I want you to imagine. I want you to imagine that you decide you're going to go in, and you are going to work harder than you've ever worked in your life. You're going to show up early. You're going to leave late. You're going to demonstrate leadership abilities. You're going to go well above and beyond your normal duties and responsibilities for your role as an employee. You're going to be passionate and driven and hardworking and enthusiastic, and you're going to work your ass off. You're going to work harder than you ever worked in your entire life. Would you make any more money than anyone else made that day?
Nope.
So was there a reason to show up early and leave late? Go above and beyond? Be a leader? No. At the end of the day, who really gives a shit? You're not going to get promoted. You're not going to make any more money. Who really cares? Here, that is completely different. Here, if you work harder, you do more appointments, you make more money. Here, if you work harder and you do more appointments, you get recognized. You get certificates. You get trophies. You get prizes. You win you win trips. You get promoted. You make more money. See, we don't promote people based on tenure or age. We promote people based on attitude and performance, which is why I've had people move into management roles after just 6-8 weeks on the job due to their performance. So I want you to realize, for the first time in your lives, you have a floor to stand on, but there is no ceiling. You can make as much money as you want. You can move up and advance with the company as quickly as you want, and I would certainly take advantage of that. So, again, dig into the training and take notes and ask questions and be engaged and work hard on your assignments and bust your ass your first 10 days. So I want you to be successful financially. And the second and much more important objective I have while you work here is I want you to develop meaningful work experience. Key word there is what? Meaningful. You know, newsflash, and listen, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but it's a tough job market. It's a tough job market right now for recent college grads. Tougher than it's ever been, and it's not going to get better anytime soon. Why? The value of a college degree is lower than it's ever been, and why is that? Because society is now at a point where everyone goes to college. Everyone, right? And when you think about, you know, the fact that 2 out of 5 college students graduates with a job. 2 in 5 graduate with a job. And what's crazier about that is that 65% of those students graduate with at least a 3.0 and an internship on their resume. And still, 2 out of 5 graduate with a job. It takes the average college student 8 months to find a job upon graduation. And 50% of college graduates graduate and move back in with their parents within 6 months of college graduation. Those are the statistics. And that scares me. And that's why I do what I do. Because I want you to develop meaningful work experience. You know, you think about like the old internship, right? How many of you have had friends who have been interns, or how many of you have been interns yourself? What are interns doing?
Learning.
Sure, I guess. What are they really doing? Making coffee, getting copies. Sometimes a lot of times doing clerical work and maybe doing some shadowing. There are some internships that provide some real value for students. It's a very, very small percentage of them. And the reality is that does not separate you. Here's a fun fact. Did you know that if you're a top 5% academic performer, that you're in the same group as 3 million other college students? Top 5%. You're in the same group as 3 million other students. And I'm not saying that grades in school isn't important. What I am saying is what's much more important is your experience and your skill set. The reality is, I don't care what you want to do long term. I don't care if it's engineering, architecture, medicine, technology, education, business, skills like public speaking, presentation skills, the ability to connect with people, learning how to think on your feet and solve problems, learning how to handle rejection, and learning how to, even something, you know what, even something as simple as making a professional phone call. You realize there's not one job in the real world where you don't talk on the phone with people in a professional manner? The ability to do that is a critical skill set. It's one that very few people in your age demographic possess. Why? You don't talk on the phone. Everything's texting, right? You text your own mom. You order on a pizza online, right? There's just, and there's nothing wrong with that. The reality is that is a critical, marketable skill. Even if it's something like managing your own time, you know, those skills are marketable. those skills are applicable and transferable regardless of what someone does long term. That's why I do what I do. People ask me, why did you stay here as a career? I've been here for 13 years. That's why. Because I have a deep passion for helping young people create real leverage upon graduation. And ultimately, we want you, through what you develop here, through the skills, the confidence, the abilities, the resume that you develop here, my objective is that you're the most sought out college graduate in your graduating class. My objective is that you get more job offers and better job offers than anyone you graduate with because of the skills, the experience, the resume that you developed here. Okay? That's why I've been here for 13 years. That is also why, we've been implemented into 9 universities' classrooms as a part of required curriculum, including NC State, Purdue University, Illinois State, San Diego State, Rutgers, among others. That's why the Wall Street Journal in 2013 voted this the #1 stepping stone job in America for a college student. It's why we were recently highlighted on entrepreneur.com, where one of the co-founders of Uber, Travis Kalanick, talked about his experience selling Cutco. That is why we've been highlighted on Forbes. That is why the USA Today and Glassdoor voted this company the #12 best place to work in the U.S. for ranked just above, by the way, Microsoft and Delta. Because the skill set that the people develop here, the experience, the self-confidence, the resume that they develop here is next to nothing. My wife works for a startup based out of Raleigh. Her CEO is a top 30 under 30 entrepreneur with Forbes in their energy sector. Thad Tarkington was a student at NC State going into his senior year studying mechanical engineering, had an idea and had skills, and dropped out of college to found this company. In 2014, they started the company. In 2019, they now have over 150 employees, hundreds of partners, and are doing tens of millions of dollars in sales revenue. And you know what his last job was? He was one of my branch managers. He ran an office in the Carolina division where I was a manager for years. He was a manager in Salisbury, North Carolina. That was his last job. My brother Chris, when he graduated, he had a 2.9 GPA as a finance major. And his senior year went on 7 job interviews. And he did not interview with small companies. He interviewed with MetLife, Johnson & Johnson, GE. He interviewed with Cisco Systems, Whirlpool Corporation, and 2 large financial consulting firms. And he went 7 for 7 on job interviews upon graduation because of the experience he gained with Cutco with a 2.9 GPA. One of my former sales representatives, Hunter Boone, was a top performer with me for 4 years as an undergraduate. Went to school at UNC Chapel Hill. He was a chemistry and biology double major as an undergraduate, and then wanted to get into their dental program. Their dental school is rated #2 in the world. They have thousands and thousands of people apply, and they select 80 from North Carolina, 40 men, 40 women. He was one of 40 men selected, and the only thing he was asked about in his dental school interview at Carolina was about his experience with Cutco. In fact, on his CV, a CV stands for a curriculum vitae, and it's basically what med school students use to apply for medical school and dental school and things like that versus a resume. He had everything that every other student has, right? He had the internship with the oral surgeon. He had shadowed the general dentist. He started a dental club at UNC Chapel Hill. He organized a dental mission trip to Nicaragua, to a third world country. And, the only thing he was asked about in his interview was his experiences with Cutco. That's why I do what I do. The analogy I use is 5-star recruits. If I'm a 5-star high school athlete, where can I go play ball? Anywhere I want. And our objective is to create 5-star recruits, where when our students graduate, they don't go on job interviews. They go around and they interview companies to figure out who they want to work for, because everyone wants to work with them, wants them to work with them. Our objective is that our students, are 5-star recruits when they're finishing school. That's really what I want you to develop here. I want you to develop meaningful work experience, and I want you to develop and have financial success. I want to introduce Morgan to you real quick before she heads to a demo. Morgan started with us. Morgan, how long? We talked about this the other day, but it's been what, like a month? 6 weeks?
Yeah.
So Morgan, where'd you go to high school?
Math.
And where are you going in the fall?
Mary Washington.
And what are you going to be studying there?
Business.
Cool. And what had you done for work prior to starting selling Cutco?
I was a coach and a rep for lacrosse.
Okay. And how did you hear about the job?
This girl had
Okay.
Jan Condon, she worked here too.
Cool. And what did you sell your first 10 days?
Like 9K, but I had double credit, so I had 10K.
Nice. So qualified for VIP night. That was fun. So $9,000. How many appointments did you complete your first 10 days?
Like 30.
30-ish?
Yeah.
If you could have done anything differently your first 10 days, what would you have done differently?
So I definitely would have prioritized doing more demos. If I had done like 40, 45, I think I probably could have hit Cancun. Since I was also a lacrosse coach, I had to miss like 2 Saturdays, which was the biggest selling days.
Yeah.
To go coach, but I kind of wish I had stayed here, done more demos instead of that. So.
Yeah. Did you cut food up on demos?
Yes.
What foods did you cut?
I started doing celery more, potatoes, bread, tomatoes.
So a lot of food.
Yeah, I bring sweet potatoes now too.
Cool.
So.
Love it. Morgan, what has been your favorite part about selling Cutco?
Definitely meeting new people and like the friends I made through the company. I think I spend more time with my new friends than like my high school friends at this point.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And what are you gutting to earn induction into right now?
TLA.
Why are you excited about the Leadership Academy?
I mean, just all the real life skills that I'll be able to learn through it. You don't learn that in college classes. I mean, managing time, money, others, self, all that stuff. You don't get that anywhere else.
When you look to the future, what are you excited about?
Hopefully becoming an AM next summer.
Yeah.
Here, and just like any leadership roles.
Cool. Why is leadership something that you're attracted to?
I definitely like for me personally, I love developing people. I mean, like as a coach and ref and all that stuff, like helping people up and get to where they can be and develop their potential and all that stuff.
Yeah. So Morgan was part of our alliance for SC2 Push. SC2 Push is basically the Super Bowl of Cutco. We just finished it. It's basically the month of July. In 2.5 weeks, 18 days. Morgan, what did you sell in 18 days? What did you sell for the push?
20.3.
20,000.
Yeah.
What did you make in income during SC2?
I don't even know, but it was a lot.
Yeah.
I wasn't even paying attention to the income though.
Do you know how much you've made so far for the summertime?
Like 8K.
What have you sold? How much have you sold?
28, almost 29.
What will you finish at before you head back to school?
At least 35, 40.
At least 35, 40. Cool. Morgan, what tips could you give the group on really crushing? I mean, you sold $9 grand in your first 10 days, completed 30 demos. What tips would you give the group on really kicking butt in their first 10 days?
I kind of already said this, but definitely prioritizing doing demos over other stuff. Like, I know we're about to go to college and, you miss your friends and stuff, but you see them another time.
Yeah.
FaceTime them.
Yeah.
I mean, this will set you up for so much more than going to lunch with your friends. So.
Yeah. Cool. And then what else? Anything else you'd tell the group?
Don't be afraid of the phone. I know my first day I was like, hey grandpa, like,
Yeah.
can I show you some knives? Like I was so awkward. Don't be afraid of the phone because that's how you sell and that's how you
Cool.
keep going. So.
Yeah. So we'll talk about making calls. We'll do that later on today. Like I said, super simple. Morgan, you're someone that in your fast start you sold a lot of sets, and even today, I mean, you're like a set selling machine. What are some of the things that you feel like help you sell a set of Cutco on the majority of the presentations that you do?
Well, for me, definitely, I know you guys won't have all the knives, but having all the knives is very, very important.
That's another reason to work hard in your first 10 days.
So you can get those fast start prizes so you can actually have the knives to show the people.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I know the cheese knife, when I didn't have that before, people were like, what's this cheese knife? But now that I have it, they're like, damn, like I sell it almost every single time.
Yeah.
If they don't buy a set with it, they're buying at least the cheese knife and like the spatula spreader and that type of
So those you've got tools in your sample kit that are just guaranteed sales.
Yeah.
What percentage of the time would you say that you sell?
Pretty much every single time.
90 plus?
Yeah.
Yeah.
At least.
Do people tell you on the phone that they're going to buy from you?
Well, no, they tell me they're not.
They tell you not going to buy.
Yeah.
And then you get there and 90% of the time they do.
I mean, yesterday morning, this lady, like, I walked into her house and she's like, we're not getting anything, by the way. Like, I don't want to waste your time. And I was like, oh, no, Miss Jones, it's totally fine. Like, went through the whole thing. She got, like, 4 individual knives.
Cool.
Like, after saying she wasn't going to get anything. So.
Yeah. So selling sets, you would say, have the tools. What else would you say about selling sets?
I'm trying to think. I don't know. I kind of just go through the white book.
Yeah, you just follow the manual.
Yeah.
Cool.
Go through all names and uses.
Cool.
Make it apply to them too, and tailor to the customer.
Oh, I like that. Okay.
Especially like comparing to the knives that they already have.
Cool.
Show them that theirs don't work as well. Give them a reason to actually buy it.
Just kind of tailoring.
Yeah.
Cool. Love that. Awesome. Let's give Morgan a big round of applause. Jake Workman's in the back. While you're standing in the room, Jake, let me introduce you as well. Jake started with us. Jake, when did you start, dude?
Would have been end of June.
Cool. And Jake, where'd you go to high school?
It was Lake Braddock.
Cool. And where are you going to school in the fall?
I'm going to go to Liberty University.
What are you going to be studying there?
Pre-law.
Cool. Jake, what did you sell your first 10 days?
For my first 10 days, I left 3 days early, but I sold 7,500.
So 7,500 in about 7 days. Cool. What did you earn in income your first 10 days on the job?
I think it would have been at least about $1,000.
Yeah, over $1,000.
At least.
Yes. Yeah. Well, you at 6,000, you've made $1,000. So probably, I don't know, like 1,200, 1,300 bucks. What have you sold so far for the summertime?
I'm right about 1,700. Sorry, 17,000.
17 grand. Cool. And you went from someone who was just kind of pedaling along, couple knives here, couple knives there. I mean, you were selling on most of your demos, but they were like small sales, couple knives.
Yeah.
And then something clicked. And for the last, I think, 3 or 4 days of your fast start, it was like a set on almost every demo that you were doing. What were some of the things that you felt like helped you go from just selling a couple knives to selling a set on almost every presentation?
I think probably 2 things. One was advanced training and learning some of the things from that.
So we'll have that on Monday. You guys will love me and hate me at the same time. You're going to love me because I'm going to teach you some like awesome content to use on your demo. You're going to hate me because you're going to wish I would have taught it to you already. But you got to crawl before you walk, okay? So advanced training helped you.
Yeah. And then I guess the other thing that really helped was kind of just like changing my mentality.
Tell me about that.
Like I would never say it out loud, but there was a little part of, like in the back of my mind the first few days where I was just like, do people really spend this much money on knives? And then the one thing that changed for me is like I was talking to Jeremy over the phone and I just kind of was like, hey, you know, I'm really struggling here, and he basically just told me, he was just like, use your set, like use your starter like kit.
Use your knives.
And I started just using them all the time, and I was just like, holy crap. Like,
this is why people spend thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars on knives.
Yeah, and then I was just like, I just got into the thought process. I was like, yeah, the moment I have my own place, if I don't have all the Cutco from like, first 10 days, I'm going to buy it for myself. And if it's something that I'm going to personally buy and own, then it's something that I'm like, oh yeah, you should definitely get this. There's no reason you shouldn't.
Product conviction and belief in the product is like the number one thing, right? I'll tell you this, when I was a new rep, my demo was terrible. Okay, it was really bad. But I sold in almost every presentation that I did because I was so damn excited about the knives, and I genuinely believed people should buy them and that they would love them and use them for the next 20, 30, 40 years, And that conviction is one of the most important parts of sitting down with a customer, just like genuinely believing in how awesome the product is. One of the ways that you get conviction is what Jake was saying, which is actually physically using the product yourself. Because when you use it yourself, you're like, oh my God, these knives are so awesome. And if you guys, look, dude, have you guys ever seen the penny get cut in your interview? What went through your head? What? Right? Okay, I remember seeing that penny get cut in the interview. I was like, I could sell those. I could sell those to anybody. Those are awesome, right? My jaw hit and then when did you guys cut the leather in the interview?
Yeah.
When the table knife went through the leather, like, whoosh, I was like, okay, oh my God, these knives are unbelievable. And if you guys are this excited about the product, and you guys are teenagers and college students, right, and you're this excited about the knives, well, guess what? Moms who actually use stuff like this daily, they freak out about how awesome Cutco is. So you just develop that conviction and the fact that, yeah, they need a set. I mean, how can they get by with less than 7 knives and 2 forks and a spreader, right? And it's kind of the same mentality that we'll talk about throughout the training, but you got to think about it like shoes in your closet, right? Like, how many pairs of shoes do you have in your closet? Ashley, how many do you have?
I don't know, like 10.
10 pairs? And why so many pairs?
I'm sorry?
Why so many?
Like I have them for like different purposes.
Different outfits and different occasions, right? Although you could wear a pair of wedges to the gym, it just doesn't make much sense. And although you could wear a pair of Ultra Boosts with, a dress, it just doesn't make much sense. And it's the same thing. Are you wearing every single pair of shoes in your closet every single day?
No.
Or even every single week? But over 10 years, are you going to wear every single one of those pairs of shoes?
Oh yeah.
Absolutely. Same thing with the set, right? Like that's why people don't just have one or two knives, because although you could use one knife for everything, it just doesn't make much sense, right? And so there's a different tool for a different job. And are they using every single tool every single day? No. Now, are there tools that they do use every day? Yes. There's a good 3, 4, 5 that they use daily. But over 10 years, are they going to use everything in the set? Yeah. So again, this is our basic set. It's called the Homemaker. This thing's only 7 knives, 2 forks, and a spreader. It'll get people by if they don't cook that much. If you go to someone's house and they're like, oh, Bryan, kitchen stuff, we really don't cook all that much. A lot of times they get a basic set. If people like to cook, if they have a family, they have, 1 or 2 kids, 3 kids, they cook, 2, 3 nights a week. A lot of times they get a medium set. And then if people love to cook or they like nice stuff, they'll get the complete set. So, good. Jake, any other tips you give the group?
I would say if you don't sell in your first few days, if you're focused on like the results and you're focused on like how much I sold, you're not going to do as well. What you need to focus on is I'm doing the demo. My job is to do the demo, and the sales will happen. For me, literally half of my sales for my entire first 10 days happened in one day.
Yep.
It was like signature set, basic set, and a whole an upgrade in the same day. Every single demo. Just
knowing that Cutco sells itself. Everyone gets something, and it's just a numbers game. Just do the demos, and guess what's going to happen? People are going to buy the knives. They're awesome. People love them. So, good. Love that, Jake. Awesome. Thanks. Let's give Jake a round of applause.